Hi, Math 6. This is a review. We're going to try to go over some of the things that you've learned in your last, couple of weeks here of Math 6, and we're going to do our best to have some review. So one thing that we did is we did some exponents. So finding the value in the first 6 problems, I'm going to find the value of these expressions. So the value of 5 to the second would be 5 times 5, which equals 25. There's two 5s because there's an exponent of 2. In the second one, 4 is raised to the power of 3, so the exponent is 3. So that means 4 times 4 times 4, which equals 16 times 4. And 16 times 4 is 64. So the value of 4 to the third is 64. The value of 5 to the 2 is 25. Now we're going to use PEMDAS. So remember PEMDAS. P-E, multiplication and division, addition and subtraction. Number 3, first I'm going to do parentheses. What's in the parentheses? We have a 10 divided by 5 in the parentheses. That comes first. So I'm just going to rewrite the rest of the equation. All I'm going to do what's in the parentheses. 10 divided by 5 is in fact 2. And then I'm going to do exponents, there are none, multiplication and division from left to right. So I'm going to leave the addition alone, and I'm going to do multiplication and division. So 6 plus 4 equals 10. So using PEMDAS, I got the expression of number 3 to equal 10. Now we're going to use PEMDAS to do number 4. What's in the parentheses? 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. Plus 3 squared. I don't do anything else except for what's inside the parentheses. Now I do exponents. 3 squared is the same as 3 times 3. So in this case, that's 9. Now I've done exponents. Now I do multiplication and division from left to right. 3 times 3 is 9 plus 9. I just rewrite the equation after I've done that, and 9 plus 9 is 18. So this expression in number 4, when using PEMDAS, equals 18. Now the expression for number 5, we're going to do parentheses first. So we're going to rewrite the whole equation, except do what's in the parentheses. 4 minus 1 is 3. The next thing I'm going to do is exponents. There are no exponents. I'm going to do multiplication and division from left to right. So I'm rewriting the whole equation, except I'm going to do the multiplication and division. So that's this part. And 3 times 3 is 9. Now I get to do the addition and subtraction from left to right. 22 minus 9 is 13. So this number 5 expression is 13 when we use PEMDAS correctly. The last one, a little bit complicated, but we can do this. Parentheses first. So I'm going to rewrite the entire thing, only I'm going to do what's inside the parentheses. So I'm rewriting it, and then inside the parentheses I have 13 plus 3, and 13 plus 3 is 16. So I'm going to do what's in the parentheses. There are no exponents while I'm using PEMDAS, and I'm moving to multiplication and division from left to right. So 2 times 16 is 32 divided by 4, and 32 divided by 4 is 8. So this expression equals 8 when we use PEMDAS. Are these perfect squares? So remember, a perfect square is actually going to be in the shape of a perfect square. So if I put a 110 there, what number has to be the same number, because it's a square, can go here or here if it was a perfect square? So I'm not sure that it's true, but I know that if I had 100 inside here, then this could be 10 and 10, because 10 times 10 is 100. So because 10 times 10 equals 100, I know I'm close. So let's keep going. What is 11 times 11? It's 121. So this goes right in between these two, so it is not a perfect square. Remember, perfect squares are only numbers that you can multiply the same number by. So like 10 and 10, multiply those two together to get 100. 11 and 11, multiply those together to get 121. It is not a perfect square if you cannot do that. And since 110 cannot be anything, it would not be a square. It would in fact be a rectangle where 10 is on one side and 11 is on the other. That's how you'd get 110. So it wouldn't be a perfect square. It would be a rectangle. Now, 49, is there something I can make a perfect square out of on both sides? If you know your multiplication table, you're already saying in your head, well, 7 times 7 is 49. Therefore, yes, it is a perfect square. And these would be a 7 and a 7 to make a 49. Yay! Okay. Find the prime factorization with a factor tree. So we learned some divisibility rules, and we know that 98 is an even number. Therefore, it can be divided by 2. What's the other number? How many times does 2 go into 98? Well, I know that if it was 100, that half and half would be 50, right? It'd be 2 and 50. So it's pretty close to 100. It's actually 2 less than that. So actually going to be 49. So 2 times 49 equals 98. And I know that 7 times 7 is 49. Well, mostly because I just did it right there. So this is my prime factorization for 98. So 98 equals 2 times 7 times 7 equals 98. And that is the prime factorization using a factor tree for 98. These last couple are questions about writing equations. It says a building, for number 10, is 72 feet tall, and each story in the building is 8 feet tall. Write an equation to determine how many stories are in the building. So first I'm going to take a look at some of the important things. I know that it's 72 feet tall, and I know that each story is 8 feet tall. That might still be a little bit confusing, so I might want to draw myself a picture. So here's my building, right? It's a pretty tall, skinny building, my building is. Okay? I know that my whole building is 72 feet tall. Okay? And I know that each story, so here's some windows to indicate that's a story in the building, is 8 feet tall. The question is, how many stories? So how many windows, how many stories are there going to be? So the equation that I'm going to write, and notice it doesn't ask me to solve it. It just says write an equation. So don't do more work than you have to. 72 divided by the height of one story will give me the how many stories there are. I don't have to solve it. 72 divided by 8. That is an equation to determine how many stories will be in the building. Done. Nice job. Number 11 says, Golden had 1 1/4 inches of snow last week and will have 2 3/4 snow next week. Write an equation to find the total inches of snow we'll have in these 2 weeks. So when I see words like the total inches of snow, that makes me think addition. And also reading the problem, I know that we have 1 1/4 inches of snow one week, and then we had 2, and it says we're going to have 2 3/4 the next week. To get the total in the 2 weeks, I'm going to have to add those together. Again, it just says write an equation. It doesn't say to solve it. So all you're doing is writing an equation. The last one, number 12, says write these as powers. Well, remember, a power is something with an exponent. So I would count the number of like terms. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 x's. So this is going to be x to the 4th. Let's do a few more of those. What if I ask you to write this as a power? Well, there's 1, 2, 3 2. So that's going to be 2 to the 3rd. They mean the same thing. 2 to the 3rd equals 2 times 2 times 2, which equals 4 times 2, which equals 8. So 2 to the 3rd equals 8. Let's try one more. Let's do x. This is going to be tricky. 2, 2. So now we have 2 x's and 2 2's. A little tricky, but you cannot, I'm just letting you know, you cannot combine unless they're the same. So we have 2 x's, so we're going to keep those together. You can't combine them with the 2's because they're different. They're different bases. Okay? That's giving you a little bit on what's going to happen like in 8th grade math, right? That's a little window into 8th grade math. You guys are doing great in 6th grade math. I think you're being amazing, and hopefully you can do amazing on this quiz. Remember, the quiz is not meant to be a grade the way it is. The quiz is you determining how much of this material you know. And if you need help in it, then you're going to write me back a self-assessment like, hey, I understood all of this part, but I don't understand this part. And that will help me determine what I still need to teach and teach better next week. Okay? It's not about you as much as it is about me. What do I need to teach? So please don't have people help you. You do the best you can with what you know. Okay? I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye.